over to you.
Thanks, Elaine. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. I hope you all are doing very well. And thank you for taking the time out of your day to learn more about Fiplex Communications and our new Flex Series platform of products. So my name is Matthew Dombrowski. I am a pre-sales engineer for Fiplex Communications, and I'll be your presenter for today. But before I begin, I'd like to give a special thanks to our distribution partners, Winncom Technologies, for arranging this introduction to Fiplex and our new Flex product line. So we're very excited to work alongside the professionals at Winncom to provide the industry with high quality, high performing, reliable signal enhancement devices for in-building public safety, and all of which are assembled right here in the United States. So Winncom's sales team and engineers have much experience not only providing product solutions, but supporting their customers with superior engineering services and support. So a big thank you to the Winncom team. And like Elaine said, during the webinar, all the attendees will remain muted. So at the conclusion of the webinar, I'll answer any questions that you might have. Also, feel free to type your questions in the message area, and I'll try my best to address them along the way or at the conclusion of the webinar. Okay, so before I jump into the new Flex Series product line, I'd like to start with a little background and story about how the overall design concept was conceived, right? So all of us at Fiplex, our sales team, engineers, everybody really sat down, put our heads together as a team to discuss the market and what problems we see still exist today and what we can do to solve these problems and create a product that really works for everybody, all stakeholders. So we tried to really think outside the box and tried to understand the main mission and the main failures seen in the current in-building public safety world that we live in today. And what we found through our discussions is that there are really three main challenges that the authorities having jurisdiction, or AHJs, and the system integrators face on a daily basis. And those three challenges are system performance, complexity, and economics. So these three challenges can create, some tension between the AHJs and the system integrators, as they both are trying to achieve the same outcome for their mission, but they do not always agree on how to get this done. The AHJ, his focus is on complying with code and providing a high performing mission critical system, which is simple and easy to use and configure. However, the AHJs, they're a little bit behind the RF technology curve, right? They're not RF engineers, and they shouldn't be, but they're still responsible in making these decisions, deciding on the best tools to use to get the job done. And then there's the system integrator. He's got to listen to the AHJ, and he's got to adapt all the guidelines of the AHJ and make sure not only to comply with code and provide a high performing system, but he has to do this in a streamlined manner so his business can remain healthy and profitable, right? So the Fiplex Flex platform, it not only addresses the complexity and performance challenges facing the AHJ community, but it also the economic barriers that hinder system integrators from repeatable and scalable deployments. So the Flex platform's advanced feature set and unique configuration deployment flexibility are unparalleled and deliver a win-win scenario, providing better buildings for the AHJ and better business for the system integrators. So Fiplex Flex platform, it mitigates these three challenges to ensure success is driven by the mission rather than a compromise, right? So how do we do this? The Flex platform offers unmatched flexibility to meet the needs of any jurisdiction, any building or venue, any systems integrators. The platform's streamlined hardware architecture and software-defined configuration transfers operational and deployment flexibility to the designer, the installer, the building owner, without adding any additional complexity or limiting the performance of the device. And we'll talk about that more when we go through the features. And Fiplex is 100% focused on performance innovation to ensure mission critical functionality, right? So from having uplink and downlink, automatic gain control per channel and per time slot, to delay priority filtering and unique survivability features, the Flex platform is really setting the standard for true mission critical deployments. And you'll see that when we, you'll see that when we talk about some of the features. And you combine that with a reduction in complexity, increased performance, and unmatched platform flexibility, and you'll quickly realize all the economic benefits of the Flex series platform. The platform really ensures that the design, the procurement, installation, and management efforts are completed as economically as possible. So the Flex saving time reduces on-site expertise requirements, shortens lead times, and a powerful field upgradable platform reduces return to site troubleshooting and adjustments, and it negates the requirement to have to replace a unit after a few years or have add a new equipment to the system. Okay, so with all that said, here you have the new Flex series of bidirectional amplifiers, battery backup units, and passive devices. So today I'll give you an overview of the new DH7S 700 800 megahertz BDA. That is the smaller BDA shown in this image here. You'll also get a full overview of the DH14 series of VHF and UHF Flex BDAs. Those are the two cabinets you see to the leftmost of the screen here. We'll go over the new Flex DBU series, and we'll also cover the new Flex series of passive devices. All right, so we'll begin with the new Flex DH7S 700 and 800 megahertz BDA. So the new DH7S 700 800 BDA is a real game changer for Fiplex. The device is available in single band and dual band versions and supports FirstNet LTE band 14 in the 700 megahertz models. So this BDA has completed all of its UL 2524 testing in July, and we're now just waiting for the final documentation to become UL 2524 listed, and we're expecting this any day now. All right, so the DH7S BDA is the most flexible 700, 800 megahertz BDA on the market to date, and for several reasons. The device is completely field upgradable, so you can upgrade from a single band unit to a dual band unit, from a Class B filtering to Class A filtering, from the low power 27 dBm version to the high power of 33 dBm. Also, this is the only BDA in the industry which can be field upgraded to become a fiber DAS remote. All right. So the BDA to fiber remote upgrade capabilities will become available once we release our new Flex Series fiber DAS products in the next couple of months. But all of these upgrades can be implemented by purchasing the appropriate license upgrade from Fiplex or Winncom. So reach out to Winncom in regards to these upgrades that we'll be offering. So this device was designed with an enhanced cabinet and electronics technology that allows for an extremely low power consumption of 80 watts. I believe it's the lowest on the market. Even in its highest performing dual band 33 dBm version, the 2-watt version, it still has 80 watts of power consumption. So this low power consumption allows for a more simple and cheaper battery backup solution. And Fiplex has gone ahead and we've designed our new Flex battery backup unit, which you'll see in a little bit here that it's a perfect fit for our new Flex Series BDA. So the DH7S also has the most digital filter options on the market. We include a very wide assortment of digital filter bandwidth options, so the device will work optimally with any radio technology you'll come across, including TDMA systems like P25 Phase 2 and DMR type of systems, right? We have channelized filter options from 12.5 kilohertz, the narrowest filter, to 150 kilohertz, which is the narrowest channelized filter, and with delays ranging from 11.5 microseconds to 61.5 microseconds. Okay. We also have the highest channel count on the market. Our single band high capacity Class A models can handle 64 digital filters per band. So we have single band models that can handle up to 64 channels. Okay, so the DH7S BDA provides what we like to call a true mission critical performance due to its advanced feature set. The Class A models have downlink and uplink automatic gain control per channel and per time slot. It's a true per time slot AGC too. This feature ensures stable coverage in the downlink and uplink all the time, right? It doesn't matter if you have 1 or 64 channels on the air passing through the device. You can expect the same level of coverage during your initial testing or during a critical event like a fire where there's multiple users using radios throughout the coverage area. Also, the uplink AGC per channel and time slot ensures mitigation of the near-far effect, which is a common issue found in building BDA systems. The DH7S BDA has outstanding noise performance that protects the macro network and preserves the base station receiver sensitivity. This is due to the downlink and uplink squelch per channel and per time slot, along with the new uplink power amplifier off feature, which silences the uplink power amplifier during idle periods, so zero noise is being generated towards the donor site during these idle periods. There's also an automatic and mandatory isolation measurement built in, which will automatically set the maximum allowable gain per the NFPA code requirements to ensure the BDA does not oscillate. So the BDA always maintains a gain that is 20 dB less than the measured isolation, okay? So the DH7S, it's essentially oscillation proof. After you've done your original commissioning, should something change in the system, reducing the isolation and potentially causing an oscillation, the BDA will detect the oscillation and will mitigate this issue by reducing the gain to a level which maintains correct system performance, or the BDA will simply shut down the power amplifiers if the isolation is too low. So the oscillation detection is very unique, the process that Fiplex uses, and it has 2 different modes that can be selected by the user to ensure compliance with any AHJ requirement. So also we have, the device has a new extreme temperature survivability feature, which allows the BDA to adjust itself during an over temperature scenario like a fire. So if the high temperature threshold is exceeded, the BDA will either turn off or reduce its power accordingly in an attempt to run longer during a critical temperature event like a fire, right? So the extreme temperature action has 3 different modes that can be selected by the user to ensure compliance with any AHJ requirement. So we also have a few additional cool new features like the new antenna disconnect and antenna malfunction alarm sensing capabilities. So this feature allows monitoring of the donor antenna without the use of a bias tee or sensing of a control channel. It's a very unique process that Fiplex has innovated to be able to sense a disconnection and malfunction. So the BDA can sense a disconnection immediately after it detects it and will generate a disconnection alarm. Also, it has the ability to sense a malfunction of the donor antenna, even if there has not been a complete disconnection of the donor antenna. So if the donor antenna blows in the wind or falls over, or if a new obstruction is causing a drop in the signal level, the BDA can also detect this and generate an antenna malfunction alarm. So all of our digital BDAs and our FiberDAS products, including the new Flex series of products, come with a built-in spectrum analyzer tool, so you can easily view downlink and uplink signals at the inputs and outputs of the device. This allows for less equipment on site and can help aid with commissioning the BDA. Also, this BDA is completely code compliant. It complies with IFC 2018 and NFPA code 72 and 1221, and it's future-proof. The way we've designed it, we've over-designed to comply with the ever-changing codes that evolve over time, right? So the device is also tamper-proof, and we provide anti-vandalism clamps, which can be installed in conjunction with a third-party lock to keep anyone from opening the device or dismounting the device. So you can use, your own lock can be employed to lock the lid and keep it secure. Also, the DH7S is very easy to install, operate, and maintain. All the connections are outside of the box. There's no real reason to open the lid and enter inside the box. Everything is outside of the box for you. And also as an added bonus, we also include a liquid tight conduit fitting. So you can run a 3/4 inch conduit directly up to the BDA, should you have a requirement to do so, or if you want to have an extremely clean looking installation. Okay, so here are the general specifications for the DH7S series BDA, okay? So again, the device has 27 or 33 dBm of downlink composite power, depending on the version ordered. We have two options for power, right? Then the uplink composite power is 24 dBm per band with a user adjustable gain from 60 to 85 dB, okay? And then the standard Class A filtering, if you order a Class A device, it'll allow for 32 filters, 32 digital filters per band, as well as 2 bandwidth adjustable filters per band. We have a high capacity single band model. So if you order a single band 700 or a single band 800, but you require a high capacity of filters that exceeds 32 filters, we have the high capacity version, which will have 64 filters available. So here you can also see all the different Class A filter bandwidth options that we have along with their associated delays. Okay, so you can see we have a wide assortment. We have many options to comply with any radio technology, including the 2 wider filters of 100 kilohertz and 150 kilohertz to comply with the new requirements coming out of San Francisco, very specific requirements from that jurisdiction. And below are the associated delays for each of the digital filters. So the key here is we wanted to provide the user with the most options so they can select the optimum rejection versus delay performance, right? The narrower the filter, the better the rejection, but the higher the delay. The wider the filter, the less rejection it has to adjacent channel interference, but it has a lower delay. So giving you all these different options, you can pick and choose the right filter for the right radio technology that you're using. Now, when you order a Class B model, you'll have the 2 bandwidth adjustable filters per band, okay? And these 2 bandwidth adjustable filters are adjustable from 100 kilohertz to the full band of the device, okay? So since the Class B device is not channelized, you do lose the AGC per channel and per time slot, and the squelch per channel and per time slot. So you'll need to manage, with the Class B device, you'll need to manage the near-far effect in your antenna design and your antenna layout, and you'll have to manage the noise accordingly because it's a Class B device and has a wider band of noise generation. However, the device still has automatic gain control and squelch for each bandwidth adjustable filter, as well as the uplink power amplifier shutdown mechanism. So this is also included with the Class B model. All right, the DH7S is also available in AC and DC power supply versions. The DC version supports both 24 volt DC as well as negative 48 volts DC. And also the device it's rather small. It's around, roughly 17 by 17 by 5 inches and only weighing around 53 pounds. So next we'll review the DH7S part number structure. We have tried to make it as simple and as intuitive as possible so our customers know exactly what they're getting based on the part number. So make it easier to order as well. So all of the models will start with the family designator DH7S, like shown on the screen here. The next suffix, the first blue X in the part number is the power supply indicator, which will either be an A for AC or a D for DC. The first red X in the band is the band indicator, and it'll be either a 7 for 700 megahertz, an S for 800 megahertz, or a 7S for 700, 800 megahertz dual band model. All right, so then the second red X is the downlink power indicator, which will be either 27 or 33 dBm, depending on the model that you've ordered. And last but not least, the final red X is the filter class indicator, and will be either A for Class A filtering, AH for Class A high capacity filtering, or B for Class B filtering. So with that being said, here you have a table summarizing all of the different available models for the DH7S family of Flex products. So as you can see, there are many configurations to fit the requirements of any different project. And this next slide here, we show you a table summarizing all of the available upgrades for the DH7S family. So for example, if you have a DH7S S33B, that's this one shown here, which is a single band 800 megahertz model with 33 dBm of power and Class B filtering. You have three upgrade options available. So, right, you have 1, 2, and 3 upgrade options available. You can upgrade the bands to support 700 and 800 megahertz, so you can upgrade from single band to dual band. You can upgrade the unit from the Class B filtering to the Class A filtering, or you can upgrade to add the missing band and upgrade the filter class from Class B to Class A, all by simply purchasing a single license upgrade from Fiplex or Winncom. Okay. Okay, so that covers the new DH7S BDA. Now we'll move on to the new Flex Series DH14 VHF UHF BDAs. So this new product line is very exciting for Fiplex. It's really a revolutionary BDA. So the DH14 Flex BDA is a completely new designed BDA line from Fiplex that covers the entire VHF public safety band, 136 to 174 megahertz, and the UHF public safety band from 450 to 512 megahertz. We also have, we will have support for 380 to 430 megahertz later on the roadmap. So these devices will be available for delivery in October, and we expect to have the UL 2524 listing completed in November. But it's key to note that there are single band and dual band versions available, which means you can run VHF and UHF simultaneously through a single BDA. We're the first manufacturer in the market to standardize on this type of solution. So this allows for a multitude of different configurations because we can do VHF and UHF simultaneously. So there are configurations now which will support 3 UHF subbands or 3 windows in a single enclosure. Also, we have models that support VHF and 2 UHF subband windows in a single enclosure, okay? No other OEM can match this type of flexibility. The devices are built to support simplex and duplex channels simultaneously in the Class A 4-port models, and the simplex operation is selectable per channel, all right? So we can support simplex applications as well. We can support simplex and duplex simultaneously in our 4-port models. And the DH14 was designed with enhanced cabinet and electronics technology, just like the DH7S. And it allows for an extremely low power consumption of 100 watts, even if in its highest performing dual band version, all right? So this, again, this lower power consumption allows for a much simpler and cheaper battery backup solution, like we discussed for the DH7S BDA, and we'll cover the Flex DBO coming up here soon. Again, this unit has the same filter options as the DH7S. So the DH14 has the most digital filter options on the market, just like the DH7S. The same wide assortment of digital filter bandwidth options are included. The device supports 32 channels or 32 filters per band. Each DH14 model supports both AC power and DC power in the same box. So that's a key feature of the DH14. You know, you can plug that box into AC if you just need AC power, or if you need the battery backup, it has both options. You can plug it into a battery backup, all the same part number. Also, the DH14 VHF UHF BDA is field upgradable from a BDA to a fiber remote, just like the DH7S product line. So you can order it one day, maybe phase 1, and use it in its BDA configuration, and then maybe phase 2 is expanding to cover additional buildings, well, you can purchase a master unit from Fiplex. You can purchase the license upgrade for the remote. You can convert that BDA to a remote and reuse it later on in an evolving project that would have multiple phases going from a BDA to a fiber DAS. So the new DH14 series has all that same mission critical performance features that we talked about with the DH7S BDAs. I'm not going to go into deep detail again, because I already covered all of these cool features when we reviewed the DH7S BDA, but they're here listed for your reference. So we still have all the AGC per channel and uplink downlink squelch per channel, all the isolation and oscillation and true mission critical features, and that very cool antenna disconnection, spectrum analyzer, all that stuff is included in the new DH14 series as well. So here are the general specifications for the DH14 BDA. This device has 24 dBm of downlink power in the VHF band and 30 dBm of downlink power in the UHF band. The uplink composite power is 24 dBm per band, okay, with a user adjustable gain from 60 to 85 dB. The standard Class A filtering will allow for 32 filters per band, as well as 2 bandwidth adjustable filters per band. And again, the DH14 has the exact same Class A digital filter bandwidth options as the DH7S series. Again, the key is to give you the most options so you can provide the best and optimum rejection versus delay performance. So same for the Class B model, you'll have the 2 bandwidth adjustable filters available in the unit, which are adjustable from 100 kilohertz to full band of the device. But just to really reiterate the Class A filtering, the Class A filtering has 32 filters with those 2 bandwidth adjustable filters as well. If you get in a pickle, a delay issue or a time delay interference, or you need to revert back to Class B filtering for some reason, we have that capability in the Class A device to do that. Again, just remember with the Class B device, you'll lose some of the key mission critical features like the AGC per channel and per time slot, and the squelch per channel and per time slot. So again, the DH14 supports both AC and DC power supplies in the same box, and it has a maximum power consumption of 100 watts. The dimensions and weights for these models will vary depending on the configuration, and we have 2 different cabinet options depending on the configuration. Your simple and most standard configurations will use this C box, which is shown here, the smaller box, and the more the multi-band, the more complicated frequency arrangements that have VHF and UHF combined in multiple subbands will use the larger, what we call the E box. Okay, so next we'll review all of the different duplexer options that are available for the DH14 series. And in the VHF band, we have 2 different options. We have 2 different standard options, I should say. We have the 2 megahertz pass band, which requires a 3 megahertz guard band, and the other option supports a pass band of up to 3.5 megahertz, but requires a guard band of at least 1.5 megahertz. Okay. And then in the UHF band, we have from 450 to 470, we have 2 different options. We have the 2 megahertz pass band with the 3 megahertz guard band, and the other option supports a pass band of 4 megahertz and requires a minimum of a 1 megahertz guard band. Then when we go into UHF T-band, which is 470 to 512 megahertz, we have 3 different options. We have the 700 kilohertz pass band with 2.3 megahertz guard band. This one's designed for a 3 megahertz split. We also have the 1.5 megahertz pass band with a 1.5 megahertz minimum guard band requirement, also designed for the T-band with 3 megahertz of split, and the 2 megahertz pass band with 1 megahertz of guard band, designed for T-band with 3 megahertz of split. All right. Also, we have a duplexer option for the UHF low band, which covers 380 to 430 megahertz. This duplexer can handle a 5 megahertz pass band and a 5 megahertz minimum guard band. And also we have our active crystal filter technology. So it's a very unique active crystal filter duplexing technology that allows us to provide a single duplex BDA configuration for VHF or UHF channels that have a transmit to receive separation as low as 75 kilohertz. All right. So these special configurations are available for 1 or 2 channel VHF or UHF systems. All right. Very unique. We keep the system duplexed when otherwise you might have to use a 4-port solution or some type of external filtering solution to get the job done. You can avoid that with Fiplex's ACF BDAs. So then we have some of the dual band or dual window configurations, which use a combination of all the duplexer options that we covered on the first screen there for the single band configurations. So you can see there are several different options to provide flexibility to the customer. We essentially take all of the, all the duplexer options and mix and match it together and try to provide, as much support for all the frequency arrangements as we can in a single enclosure. All right. We also offer dual window and triple window UHF special configurations for certain jurisdictions that have extremely complicated frequency arrangements with multiple subbands. A lot of these arrangements you're seeing coming out of the California area, but there are many areas that do have very complicated VHF and UHF arrangements. Some of those special configurations are shown on the screen, such as the Miami-Dade configuration, Washington and Redwood City. We also have some new configurations for El Segundo, Glendora, California, Tracy, California, just to name a few of them, right? So we have many, many, many more configurations. There's too much to list here. But if you need more information, contact the Winncom team. Should you have any questions about all the different configurations that we offer. We essentially have a configuration for every jurisdiction. Okay, and then for systems that have very complicated frequency arrangements that fall outside of our standard duplexer options, we have the option to provide a customized external filtering solution should it be permitted by the AHJ. So Fiplex, here at Fiplex, we're filtering experts. We've been designing duplexers and filters since the late 80s. That's where our name Fiplex comes from, filters, duplexers. So we have years and years of knowledge on how to build duplexing systems. So this allows Fiplex to provide a complete duplex system when otherwise you would need to design using a 4-port BDA utilizing a split DAS configuration with separate downlink and uplink donor antennas and indoor cable runs. Using a filtering solution like this can keep the system duplex, providing long-term performance and stability. We're one of the only manufacturers that has the capability of providing this type of external filtering solution, or at least we're willing to do this for our customers. Other OEMs stick to the standard products. Okay, so next we'll review the DH14 part number structure. Again, we've tried to make it as simple and as intuitive as possible so our customers know exactly what they're getting based on the part number. So all of the models will start with the family designator DH14. The next suffix, the blue X in the beginning of the part number, is the enclosure indicator, the cabinet, the box, which will either be a C for the smaller C box cabinet, or it will be an E for the larger E box cabinet. The first red X is the band indicator and will indicate which bands are supported in the configuration. All right, so that's the band indicator here, the first X. The second and third red X are the duplexer indicators, right? They'll indicate which duplexer options are being utilized in the configuration. And last but not least, the final red X, this final red X here, is the duplexer arrangement indicator, which will either be blank, meaning both sides are duplexed. It could be a DD, which would indicate duplexing on the donor side only, or it would be an SS, which would indicate duplexing only on the service or indoor side. So we provide all these different options here because you might be feeding a fiber DAS or you might need to split the donor antennas. So we're very flexible on all the different arrangements that we offer. So we fit every different project requirement. So let's just go through one of the examples here. I'll pick one of the most complete part numbers here, just so you understand the structure a little bit better. So let's look at the DH14EA-EVU-350740, all right? So DH14 is the family indicator. The E indicates the larger E-box cabinet. The A indicates its AC and DC power. The next A indicates it's a Class A device. The V indicates it supports the VHF band, right? The U indicates support for the UHF band from 450 to 470. The 35 is the duplexer arrangement for VHF, indicating a 3.5 megahertz bandwidth. The 07 indicates, the 07 here indicates 700 kilohertz bandwidth for band 1 in UHF, and the 40 indicates 4 megahertz bandwidth in UHF. Okay, so really this is a triple band configuration that supports a single band of VHF and 2 subbands of UHF, all in a single enclosure. So that covers the new DH14 series BDAs, and next we'll jump into the new Flex battery backup unit. Okay, so we have completely redesigned our new Flex battery backup units. They come with a built-in annunciator, and all the batteries are included in a single box enclosure. So the new BBU, it'll be available for delivery in October, with UL 2524 listing expected to be completed this November. This new device is software configurable using our integrated graphical user interface for easy setup and control. You'll plug in your laptop and you'll have a lot of flexible control, and so you can basically fit the requirements of any project. There's also an option to add up to 4 remote annunciators connected in parallel should you need to locate the annunciator in a different location than the BDA and BBU. The device is completely code compliant and future-proof like the other products, and is designed for simple integration with our BDAs. The BBU will come with all the required power and alarms cables to connect directly between the BBU and the BDA, allowing for a really quick setup. And the BBU is also fitted with the liquid tight conduit fitting, so you can run 3/4 inch conduit between the BBU and the BBA, should that be a requirement for the project, or you want to have a really clean looking installation, which is, free from being, hit by any water or anything. Okay, so here's the overview of the specifications of the new battery backup. We have 2 different options to support all of our new Flex BDA configurations. So we have the BTTY-100055, and that is the 55 amp hour version and provides 12 hours of backup runtime for the Flex DH7S and DH14 BDAs. Then we have the BTTY-10100, which is 100 amp hour capacity and provides 24 hours of backup runtime for Flex BDAs. And we also have the part number, the BTTY-ANN is the part number of the optional remote annunciator should you need to have a separate annunciator located at a different location. So the max load of this device is 270 watts. So we will be releasing more configurations to support multiple BDAs. Maybe you want to power 2 BDAs, maybe a 700, 800 and a VHF, UHF coming from the same BBU. So we'll be adding that very soon, more options. and also for fiber DAS configurations to support feeding a master and a remote unit from a single BBU. Okay, so those are coming soon. So this device simply plugs into an AC wall outlet, right? And it is, and the sizing of this, it's roughly 24 by 20 by 10 inches, and it weighs 150 pounds for the 55 amp hour version and around 210 pounds for the 100 amp hour version. So here you have a quick example showing how the BDA and the BBU interface with one another. The DC power cable will simply quick connect between the BDA and the BBU. Same thing goes for the, so that's shown here. Same thing goes for this alarms cable here. Just a very quick connect with very easy quick connectors. All right, and here you see the optional conduit here. And that can be used as an alternative if this is a requirement. And also you see the alarm output from the battery backup unit to feed to the main fire control panel, right? As well as the AC power output, which would plug into the wall. Okay, so Flex passive devices. Next, we'll just cover the new line of Flex passive devices for in-building public safety. So here you have a summary of our portfolio of passive devices we put together to complement our BDA and fiber DAS products. So we have a complete portfolio with devices supporting the full range of public safety from 136 to 870 megahertz. And we have the DPS series of power splitters available in 2, 3, or 4-way. We have the DC series directional couplers with your standard coupling values ranging from 6 to 30 dB with all the standard options in between. We have the new broadband hybrid coupler in the HS series, which is a full band or triple band hybrid coupler. We also have a series of combiners that we have available to our customers. So we have the DBC dual band combiners to combine all of your most common BDA configurations, whether it be combining UHF, VHF with UHF, or combining UHF, VHF with 700, 800. Then we also have the triple band combiner, the MBC series combiner, which is used to combine VHF with UHF and 700, 800 megahertz. That's the combiner shown in this picture here that combines, you see VHF has a port for VHF, a port for UHF, and a port for 700, 800 megahertz to combine all of those together onto a common DAS. We have the AT series of attenuators with all your standard attenuation values. We offer the LD series of load terminations with 2 different power options there. We also have a complete line of isolators in the LTB series. And all of our passive devices utilize N female connectors as a standard, right? And we also have a complete line of base station management equipment should you have a requirement to provide a solution related to on the base station side, right? So we have base station duplexers, we have filters, we sell transmitter combiners, receiver multi-couplers, and many other more products related to the base station side of things should you have a need or require to provide a solution on the base station side. All right, so this next slide really just brings the whole Flex platform together to show you a complete system arrangement. So here you have a VHF, UHF BDA with separate donor antennas for each band. So it has a VHF donor antenna and a UHF donor antenna. Maybe this is used for a private system, so it doesn't require a battery backup. That's why it's an AC powered device. It'll plug just right into the wall. And it doesn't have an NFPA code requirement. Then combined into the system is a 700, 800 megahertz BDA. right? But this one is for fire. This NFPA required to have the appropriate BBU as shown. So this would be a DC BDA being fed by a battery backup unit. And then these two BDAs are being combined using a Fiplex dual band combiner, the DBC22. And they're combined to feed the indoor passive network, the indoor passive antenna network, including directional couplers and power splitters, right? So that just gives you a quick overview of how all the Flex Series BDAs, one example of how it all could tie together and become a system. So that concludes the introduction to the new Flex Series platform of the new Fiplex Flex Series platform of BDA products and BBUs and passives. At this time, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to type them in the questions area and I'll address